Kyle here from All Media Reviews. Here to do a little bit of a vinyl update again. Been getting a lot of that stuff in the mail. I have at least 2 or more records that I'm expecting right now. There could be more depending on budget. I'm waiting to pay my insurance bill, and then I got some computer related stuff I want to spend money on. But I have a haul here because what happened was we have our summer birthdays. I got a birthday present last month with my birthday, 48. Hard to believe, but my brother sister-in-law gave me a gift card to a record store called No Name Records. There used to be more than one. There were like 2 or 3. One at the U of M, Minnesota, down there near the Varsity Theater, closed 15 years ago. I remember going there a couple times, but the one in Richfield is still around, and he gave me a gift card there for a birthday present. So I had some money that was just, free money or whatever. If you could give gift cards for eBay or more likely Discogs, that would be also, but it's just the prices. So anyway, I had some money to spend that wasn't money. I just had a gift certificate to spend there. So I got a whole bunch of records. So I'll just get into it. I got 3 sort of isolated records. Well, one, here, I'll show the first one. I got just for $1. I mean, I didn't spend a lot of time. We didn't have a lot of time. It was the same night that the Baseball Project, which is Mike Mills and Peter Buck from REM's, outside of the -5 did the Monkees album, their other project. They're playing at the Turf Club where I was last night, but we didn't go. I don't know the music, even though I know the style. I know baseball references. My wife doesn't. But so we decided just to go to the record store. That the night I went to the movie. That was the night I went to the movie. Anyway, went to the record store instead of doing something. I don't know. It was up against the clock, but I got this Suzanne Vega for $1, 7-inch single, Luca, which I forget the one from Desperately Seeking Susan, I think it is the one I really want. That single that she put out after this. But this, Luca's like one of her, outside of Tom's Diner, is probably her biggest hit, even though it's kind of a sad song. It's got Night Vision as the B-side, but buck. I don't collect a lot of 7 inches, but, for $1, it had artwork at least, so I got 2 other, like I said, sort of standalone records, and then the big part of the haul I'll show after that. One being, it's the first 10cc, and then the price was not cheap, but, I see 10cc very sporadically. If I went onto Discogs, I'm sure eBay, Amazon Marketplace, I probably could find the records. I want to get the records, but I don't want to spend an arm and a leg. You just don't see them that much, but this is a copy of Sheet Music from 1974, so, I kind of want the cream of the crop with the 10cc. I don't know about Godly and Cream. That music's a little more avant-garde, but the early to mid 70s, like the mid to late 70s rather, 10cc, those 4 or 5 records I would have interest to acquire all on vinyl in reasonable condition. I think this isn't isn't a gatefold, but this is off of UK Records London, so I don't know if this is a British pressing. It might be. And what pressing this is. I would guess it's not a first pressing, but they were UK band, of course. 10cc, the biggest song, I'm Not in Love, came on the record after this, I believe, but it's UK Records, so decent pressing. Nothing's really remarkable about the artwork. But I remember when I went through 74, I believe. This was in the top 20. It might have been close to the top 10. And if I redo those in a year or two, I don't know when that's going to be, it could potentially move up. Because if I'm choosing my favorite among all the 10cc records I checked out, which I didn't hear all of them, I probably listened to at least 4 or 5 of them when I was doing the 70s. This was among my favorites. Maybe it wasn't my favorite, but it was up there. It's got that song Hotel, the Wall Street Shuffle, Somewhere in Hollywood, but they're very quirky power pop, like quirky sort of progressive experimental power pop in a way, You could totally see how both they influence, like XTC, just what to talk about, rhyme signatures, and Jellyfish, among others. I mean, and my friend compared House of Fools to them, but yeah, it wasn't cheap, but it's a decent quality record. But sheet music, one of the sort of required essentials from XTC. So that one wasn't as much as a little more than I probably would have spent on it if I was just spending them. Again, this is just, here's some money you can spend at the record store. So, but this one was certainly very reasonably priced. I think I've seen this occasionally. It's not. This is Steve Hackett's "Please Don't Touch," right, from 1978. So it would have been like his third record, something like that. Obviously, I have Voyage of the Acolyte, and it was $3.95. So good condition. I don't know who he got to sing. Steve Walsh is on this. So, like, I've got Steve Walsh and his brother John, of course, John Aycock. But, you know, the notable track list, and I've seen Steve Hackett several times live. The title track is the one that I think of the most. But I did not revisit this when I was going through 1978. But, you know, I mean, for $4... Yeah, I mean, you know, it's from that early period, which I sort of lean toward among Hackett's catalog. I'm not a mass, and I haven't even gone to see him the last couple times he came here, but I've seen him probably live at least 4 or 5 times, doing the Genesis stuff more so than anything else. But off of, this is the Chrysalis pressing, probably a U.S. pressing, but anyway. Yeah, you know, it's like one of his first, well, not his, maybe his second record. Who did he get to have Phil play drums on? Who played the drums? Tom Fowler, Graham Smith, Richie Havens is on this too. I missed that. So, and Phil Ehart. So it's like Steve Hackett joining forces with two guys in Kansas. But I don't know if this album is like the most Kansas-like. I mean, you have Steve Walsh, of course. But anyway, Please Don't Touch from Steve Hackett in 1978. All right. So as I alluded to, someone obviously had gone to No Name Records within the last, I don't know the dates on these, but sold a bunch of recent pressings, I would guess, of XTC records. So I didn't buy them all. There was one that was kind of like a bootleg or like an import of some kind. But I'm just trying to get some of the essentials that I don't have. And I like XTC. I've grown to like them. I wish I could love them more than I do, but they've got several songs I really like. And I have over there, I have 4, 5, 6 of their records. I have Skylarking, I have Oranges and Lemons, I have The Big Express, I have White Music, I have The English Settlement. I think I might have one other. So I'll just go through it. So this is the last one I picked up, and this came with a 7-inch single 45, Day In and Day Out, and Chain of Command. But this was Drums and Wires, of course. I think this was the second XTC album. Shout out to Scott from the Proud Corner, of course, who's a massive XTC fan. This is a promo copy, so, someday this will happen to my collection. Someone obviously had a whole bunch of XTC, and, it's a virgin pressing. They weren't going to keep it, and don't have the room, or just feel like they need the money, just need to purge stuff, but, this is, the first album with Colin Moulding, I think, or maybe Dave Gregory. I forget which one joined after the first, wasn't on the first record. Maybe it was Colin Moulding. Life Begins at the Hop. I listened to this when I went through, and I was like, it was very hit and miss. People love this record. Some people think this is their best record, Drums and Wires. But I think their punk influence was still more present. Complicated Game, the last track, is notable. On this record, compared to some of the records that followed, well, I don't know. I kind of have some reservations about some of those mid-'80s records before Skylarking. So, English Settlement is long, but it's really good. A lot of it's really good. But I don't know. Someday, I've spent time with all their records, mostly all their records, but someday I'll maybe know their catalog a little more intimately, where I can, sort of know the history of XTC. Because, it's like, they're a band I was sort of trying to like and then started to like, but I've never, been obsessed with them, become, an XTC fanboy. So, alright, so now we skip ahead. So, I only have one of the Dukes albums, too. I only have the first EP, but, so I'm still missing some, but, where is it? Yeah, this is the one I wanted. So after Oranges and Lemons, which I have over there, is Nonsuch from '92, and I revisited this recently, and I concluded there's a lot of music on here I like. It's pretty long, and so I don't like it still as much. I mean, its best moments are good. Was it Peter Pumpkinhead? That's the first track, or the Ballad of Peter Pumpkinhead. Yeah, but this is from 91 or 92. I thought it was 92. 92. Yeah, it was 92. But thick press. You could tell this is probably a recent pressing. To get a first pressing would be in some ways more unique in some sense, but you know, cost and stuff. But yeah, thick pressing, heavy. This is on Apoplexy or Apoplex. I can't. APELPX. Dear Madam Barnum, Smartest Monkeys. I don't know if that's a reference to being a Monkeys fan. I don't know. Because, of course, Andy Partridge wrote a couple songs for the Monkees on Good Times, and I want to say also on the Christmas album, the Monkees Christmas album. But, yeah, there's people that love Nonsuch more than they love Oranges and Lemonade and Skylarking. I'm not one of those people necessarily, but I remember when I got this on cassette tape many years ago, I was listening in the car. I was struggling with it more than I'd struggled with Oranges and Lemons and Skylarking even. But I probably would take this ahead of some of the other records. In fact, I'd take it ahead of Drums and Wires probably. But I don't know, maybe I need to do an XTC video at some point. I'm going to revisit their standard catalog. Bungalow, War Dance. It's just, there's like, I don't know, 15 songs on here. I remember it was like, I like this, but and there's a lot of Beatles elements in here, of course. I talked about this in the 92 video, but it's not, it doesn't flow maybe as well, and it just kind of, it's a double album, so it ends up, it doesn't maybe flow as well as some double albums even, but no, it's still great to have on vinyl, and like I said, I mean, I could have saved it. No Name Records is a place that I bought some Marillion years ago. Some of my picture discs I found there, but they seem to get somewhat rare items there, but at the same time their prices are always kind of steep, and they don't have like recent music of the last 25, 30. Like most of their music's from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. A lot of 80s, a lot of 70s and 80s, but most of the stuff they sell. So I got, also then, again, I'm sort of like, what am I going to use this with? So I have all this, it wasn't like a ton of money, but I'll be honest, it was $100. So I got both Apple Venus Volume 1 and 2, which I think it's up Apple Venus Volume 1 over there, which has River of Orchids. I partially bought these just based on, I know these are kind of praised and also rare and usually not cheap. And while these were not that pricey, actually, $19, Apple Venus Volume 1. Yeah, again, River of Orchids is sort of the highlight track on this, but kind of a new agey element to some of the stuff on here. And they use a lot of sort of trumpets from my memory, and they were kind of almost diving, maybe they were listening to Talk, diving into post-rock, and again, this APLP Records, XTC under license, yeah. Pressings of 2018. That's the, but yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's like, should I be buying records from bands? So buying records that I'm just lukewarm on. I had this policy I had for, this is only one disc years ago, is that I was going to start buying vinyl, but only for the essentials. I guess I've kind of come to the grips with that. If a record from a band that I like and want to like even more, I'm just going to try to buy most of the records still, despite the space and the cost, even if but in this case, it didn't cost me anything, thankfully, but I think this came out in 2001, and I know that they put one of these in the 90s and one, maybe this is in the 90s, and my XTC knowledge of history isn't perfect, if this tells the year on it. 99, actually, so this is a 2018 pressing. So this wasn't quite their swan song. I know that at least one of the members, was Dave Gregory, had left. It was just Colin. Dave Gregory or Colin Moulding. It was not Colin, like Andy. It may have just been Andy and Colin, or Andy and Dave Gregory at this point. Dave Gregory is the one who was in Big Big Train, I believe. and he joined Marillion actually at the Marillion convention. They did Census Working Overtime as their X and their A to Z, even though it's not a Marillion song, at that fan weekend. So here's Apple Venus Volume 2, I think. And this came out in 2000. So this came out the year after. My guess is the Apple Venus, they basically, they referenced that, I think even in Non-Such, but the wording in Apple Venus, but they probably wrote and recorded a lot of this stuff at the same time, so, that's why it's Volume 1 and Volume 2. My knowledge of this, though, I don't think I have it on CD, so I've only heard it. It's been many years, but Chris Sabo, I'm looking at Nick Davis, producer, or played keyboards, Gavin Wright. Yeah, this is just Colin. So, yeah, Dave Gregory had left, and it still is kind of the writing was on the wall about, XTC as a band and everything. Of course, they hadn't done any touring for 20 years because of Andy's sort of stage fright, or what to call it, but Wasp Star, Apple Venus Volume 2, yeah, and it was like a subtitle to it. Church of Women, We're All Light, standing in for Joe, The Wheel on the Maypole, Playground, My Brown Guitar. I don't know. I think by reputation, Apple Venus Volume 1 is the one people like more. But I guess I kind of want to see these just as a double album, basically. They released back-to-back years. It's like System of a Down's Mesmerize and Hypnotize, or Mall and Low the Wells, Leaving Your Body Map in Bath. But, it's good to get these. I think I was just kind of like, oh, this is something you don't see very much, and the price is not outrageous. Again, I wasn't paying anything. It was $18 or whatever. I got a word from the owner. His name was Danny Becker, who manages at No Name, that the owner, the person that sold this, completely cleaned them all, and very much of a fan's fan of this. Go figure. And there were some other XTC records I didn't buy, some I didn't need, like that one bootleg. So that's about it for this vinyl haul of sorts. Like I said, I got a couple coming in the mail. I want to do a calendar update. I'm working on 1995. Don't know if it's coming this week. The other sort of big thing to anticipate is the big Zoom, roundtable 2024 discussion with. It's probably just going to be the three of us, and we're going to read our friend Annie's list. May try and get in touch with someone, but that will be coming hopefully next week sometime, because we're going to plan to do it on Monday. So that. The calendar update, and then 95, and there were a couple other video ideas I had too, actually. I was thinking about doing just a video telling my story, my experience with radio. That might be worth doing, and then of course all this crap I'm going to try working on now, and start putting onto Discogs. But thank you for watching again, and we'll see you next time.